At school, Kodaka was always mistaken for a delinquent. Even when he was just reading in the library, other students were too scared to come near him. They assumed he would beat them up if they got too close. As usual, once class was over, Kodaka headed to the neighbor's club room. When he opened the door, he saw Sana wearing a bald wig. Kodaka quickly shut the door and said he had walked into the wrong room. Sana ran after him and asked what he thought of her new look. She seemed confused and asked why he did not laugh. She reminded him that the day before, they had talked about how making people laugh could help them make friends. That was why she wore the bald wig. According to the label at the toy store, the wig was supposed to make people laugh uncontrollably. Suddenly, Yozora walked in wearing a wig and dressed up like Sana. She said Sana had never managed to make anyone laugh. Kodaka was puzzled by Yozora's appearance. Yozora said she was dressed as a ridiculous creature from Earth and asked if it was enough to make him laugh. Kodaka just stayed silent. Then Yozora wrote the word meat on her forehead and mocked Sana's voice, saying she was a rich and beautiful girl. Sana said that was not how she talked, and she did not understand what about her was supposed to be funny. Instead of being amusing, it was actually pretty irritating. Yozora replied that seeing Sana irritated like that made her feel happy. Kodaka asked if Yozora was not embarrassed to look like that. Yozora and Sana both turned to look in the mirror. Kodaka commented that a real comedian would never rely on something that lame. Yozora then challenged him to show what a real comedy act looked like. According to Kodaka, a true comedian came up with original stories, so he started telling one called I Am Scared of Manju Cakes. Unfortunately, once he finished, everyone just called the story boring. Rika joined them in the club room and said that funny people could easily become popular. As usual, Yukimura served tea, hoping to hear a funny story from Kodaka. But Sana and Yozora both advised her not to expect too much. Kodaka insisted his story was still better than Sana and Yozora's wig stunt. Yozora mentioned hearing about a hairstyle that was trending lately, the teased look where hair is combed upwards and then decorated. Sana got interested right away. Rika added that according to the internet, that style gave off a European noble vibe or something along those lines. Sana thought it would probably suit her well. Rika even said that there were people so grand they shaped their hair into bird nests so birds could live in them, or even molded their hair into love letters. Sana was surprised and asked if that kind of thing only happened in the samurai era. Rika explained that it was just a way of expressing oneself, similar in concept to how samurai helmets were made. Yukimura asked if that meant T's hair was like a samurai helmet, something that showed identity if their head got cut off, so they would be respected, honored, and remembered like true samurai. Kodaka did not think it worked that way. Sana started feeling something was off, and Yozora seemed to agree. She said it would be hard for a group of people to style their hair that way, so it would be pointless for commoners to try it. According to Yozora, regular people would just stick to basic hairstyles used by lower social classes. She says she hoped to see the T's style in person someday. Rika said it was extremely rare to find someone who was born with a natural noble aura and a personality charming enough to pull off the T's look. Kodaka realized that Yozora and Rika were clearly trying to bait Sana, and it worked. Sana took the bait. She insisted that such a person did exist, and that she was the only one who truly pulled off a hairstyle like that. Yozora told her not to force it, especially since T's hair was notoriously hard to work with. Sana said she was not trying to force anything. She believed that no matter how complicated the hairstyle might be, nothing could outshine her divine aura. Kodaka could not understand why that particular fish always bit the bait so easily. Yozora said that if Sana really was forcing things, then she and Rika would immediately start backcombing her hair. Sana got ready to have her hairstyle changed by Yozora and Rika. Before they started, she asked them not to do anything weird. Yozora began brushing Sana's hair. Sana admitted that it felt kind of nice having another girl brush her hair. Rika commented that Sana's hair was smooth and soft and even the ends were not split. Just for that day, Yozora complimented Sana's hair. Sana responded by saying that Yozora's hair was beautiful too, and she added that Rika's hair was shiny and also pretty. Yozora then asked if Sana had any requests before they started teasing her hair. Sana asked for a hairstyle that popular girls would wear. Yozora started thinking about what was trendy and said, summer. Rika suggested adding elements that represented what people liked the most during summer, like incorporating beach waves with curly hair. Yozora agreed and even wanted to add a swirling water accent using rolled sausages. Rika wanted to give it a summer storm vibe by adding a few waves to the overall look. Rika then asked Sana what she thought about the idea, and Sana said it was not bad. Yozora suggested making a hill with a beach on top of it. Things got even more ridiculous when Rika proposed replacing the hair ribbons with a bikini, and Yozora went further by wanting to add watermelon and fireworks. Sana was shocked when she realized they seriously wanted to include a watermelon, a bikini, and even yakisoba in her hair. She started to panic, but Yozora and Rika told her to stay still. Yukimura quickly went to get the watermelon, the bikini, and the yakisoba. At that point, Sana turned to Kodaka for help, but he completely ignored her. Meanwhile, Maria was outside playing in the yard. When someone called out to her, she immediately started doing her assigned task of mowing the grass. When she looked up, she saw that it was Yukimura approaching. Yukimura asked what Maria was doing. Maria said she was cleaning the yard as a punishment for slacking off earlier. Yukimura was there because Sana had asked her to get something. Maria assumed it was probably something related to summer. She handed over a few bugs she had managed to catch. Back in the club room, Yozora and Rika finally finished creating a new hairstyle for Sana. Yozora called her the fiercely backcombed Storm Queen, the most popular girl in A Midsummer Night's Dream. The hairstyle was so outrageous that it even felt heavy on her head. Kodaka thought the two of them were being way too cruel. Yozora and Rika insisted that the hairstyle looked great and made Sana seem elegant. Sana asked if it really suited her. Yukimura said it definitely did. It was not only elegant, but also deeply moving. Yozora even admitted to feeling jealous and said she should have backcombed it herself before cutting her own hair. Sana then asked Kodaka what he thought. Kodaka told her the hairstyle really suited her. The next day, Sana told Kodaka that her father had been furious with her and ended up spanking her before undoing the hairstyle. Later on, when they were in the club room, Rika and Yozora apologized to Sana for going too far. Sana was still upset and stormed off. Yozora felt like the club activities were not going very well. While at the library, Kodaka received a message from Sana asking why he was not in the club room. Kodaka replied and told her that he was studying for the exams. Sana told Kodaka to head to the club room right away because only she and Yukimura were there. Just as Kodaka was about to go, Sana said he did not need to come after all, since Kobato had already arrived. Not long after, Kobato called him and asked for help. Sana could be heard chasing Kobato around. The commotion was loud enough that people nearby started to think it was a kidnapping. That night, while Kodaka was studying, Sana messaged him to ask whether he was confident about the upcoming exam. She then invited him to come study at her house. Kodaka agreed, especially since Sana had the highest grades in their year. The next day, he told Kobato that he would be going to Sana's house that afternoon to study for the exams and asked if she wanted to come along. Kobato was shocked and told him not to worry about her. She said Sana was scary. When Kodaka arrived at Sana's house, he was surprised to see her father, Pegasus, already waiting for him at the gate. Sana came out to greet him and Pegasus politely let them go study. Sana then asked if her father had finished talking to him. Apparently, Pegasus asked about Kodaka every day, which made Sana think her father wanted to have a proper conversation with him. Pegasus claimed he was simply doing his duty by keeping an eye on Kodaka. Kodaka, however, could not understand the way Pegasus thought. Sana brought Kodaka to her room to study. As soon as they got there, Kodaka was shocked to see the ceiling completely covered with photos of Yozora's face. Sana had secretly taken all the photos herself using a digital camera while Yozora was off guard. Kodaka thought she looked like a creepy stalker and asked why she would do something like that. Sana even showed him the wig Yozora had worn back then. She said that when someone holds a grudge, they have to endure it. Kodaka suddenly remembered a story about someone who slept on a tree branch or licked a gallbladder every day, just to keep their anger alive until they could get revenge. Sana said maybe she was kind of like that. She admitted to staring at Yozora's photo every night, smelling the wig she had worn and remembering what Yozora did to her to fuel her drive for revenge. Sana made it clear that she would definitely get back at her. Kodaka had not expected Sana to be this intense. She was far scarier than he had imagined. While they were studying, Kodaka accidentally glanced at Sana's chest. He asked her how to answer one of the questions, but he could not concentrate because of the distraction. Sana called him stupid for not being able to solve it, which made him decide to try answering it on his own. Not long after, Stella came in and brought them some snacks. She greeted Kodaka, asked how things were going, and then handed him a condom. Kodaka was stunned. After Stella left the room, Sana asked what she had given him. Kodaka did not say, and Sana tried to snatch it from him. In the process, he accidentally caught a glimpse of her cleavage, which Sana immediately noticed and was not happy about. Sana admitted that she felt too lazy to continue studying and ended up asking Kodaka to hang out instead. She invited him to play Iron Necromancer, a game she had just bought. She knew that Kobato really liked the anime version, and although she had already purchased the full set of Blu-ray discs, she had not watched them yet. She planned to watch it together with Kobato. Kodaka felt relieved that Kobato had not come along to Sana's house. Sana managed to win the game easily. In fact, that was her 10th consecutive win. Kodaka was surprised considering she did not know how to play at all when they first started. Sana said she was good at everything. Time passed quickly, and before they realized it, the day was already turning into evening, yet they had not studied at all. Just as Kodaka was about to head home, Sela appeared and said that dinner was ready. Sana then invited him to join them for dinner. After dinner, Kodaka got up to say goodbye, but Pegasus asked him to spend the night. Kodaka could not bring himself to refuse. He quickly sent a message to Kobato, telling her to either heat up one of the frozen meals in the fridge or make instant noodles for dinner. At that moment, Kobato was happily singing to herself. After eating, Kodaka decided to take a bath. Not long after, Pegasus showed up, saying that he wanted to scrub Kodaka's back. Kodaka politely declined, saying there was no need, but Pegasus insisted that he should not be shy. Pegasus shared that back when Hayato was still around, he used to take the initiative to lather up the soap and sit behind him. As he scrubbed Kodaka's back, Pegasus asked how it felt. Kodaka said it felt just right. That moment reminded Pegasus of the first time he and Hayato been together. Pegasus then brought up the fact that Sana had come home from school the day before with fried squid and yakisoba in her hair. He asked if Sana was often picked on at school. Sana had told him that hairstyle suited her best, and in the end, Pegasus had given her a punishment. Pegasus also noticed that such a hairstyle did not exist, which confused him, especially since Sana usually held herself with pride. He started to worry, but Sana told him she had done it by her own choice. Kodaka asked whether Pegasus had seen the state of Sana's room recently. It turned out that Sana had not allowed Pegasus near her room since she started high school, and he thought that was normal. Kodaka wanted to say that it seemed like Sana was turning into a pervy stalker-type girl, but he knew he could never say something like that out loud. Instead, he told Pegasus that Sana had never been bullied by her classmates. Kodaka also promised that he would protect Sana if anyone ever tried to mess with her. Pegasus said he would entrust Sana to Kodaka, though it felt like there was a deeper meaning behind his words. At that moment, Kodaka still did not realize he was already caught in a situation he would not be able to walk away from. That night, before falling asleep, Sana, as usual, imagined Yozora's face while kissing Yozora's wig as a way to fuel her feelings of revenge. That day, as usual, Kodaka headed to the neighbor's clubroom after class. He was surprised to see a girl he didn't recognize. When she greeted him, he finally realized it was Rika. She had let her hair down and wasn't wearing her glasses. Kodaka asked about her glasses, and Rika explained that she just wanted to change things up a bit and see if people viewed her differently without them. When Kodaka asked if she was wearing contact lenses, Rika told him that her glasses had always been fake. She didn't actually have any vision problems and only wore them as a fashion choice. Kodaka never expected Rika to talk about fashion at all. She then asked what he thought of her current look. Kodaka felt like she had transformed like a wildflower blooming on a hillside. If he had to choose, he would say her look without glasses matched his taste more. Without realizing it, Kodaka had accidentally said those thoughts out loud. Rika immediately blushed. Yozora, clearly annoyed, stomped on Kodaka's foot. Sana and Yukimura didn't look too happy either. Meanwhile, Rika laughed at Kodaka's reaction. Rika hadn't expected Kodaka to think of her that way, and then, in her usual bold manner, she invited him to do something inappropriate with her. Kodaka flatly rejected the idea. Rika quickly apologized, realizing that what she said had been rude. She then tried to rephrase her words more politely, but the soft tone still ended up suggesting the same thing. Kodaka sighed and asked why it had to be Rika, of all people, who acted like that. Rika was shocked by how disappointed he sounded. It nearly brought her to tears. Kodaka ignored her and chose to focus on studying instead. Rika couldn't believe how heartless he was, completely disregarding her hurt feelings, but strangely, that coldness only seemed to excite her more. Deciding she needed a break from reality, she thought it might be best to escape into the two-dimensional world. Rika asked Sana for permission to use her TV so she could watch an anime she had just bought. The anime was titled Gay Game Club. Yozora immediately smacked Rika in the face and demanded to know what kind of inappropriate material she was planning to watch in the clubroom. Rika insisted it wasn't anything indecent. She explained that although the show was based on a romantic game between men, the adult scenes had been removed in the anime adaptation, making it suitable even for kids. While it did have a few sensual moments on screen, she said it was still safe for all ages. Yozora, unconvinced, asked who would even care about that. Rika replied that she cared and even showed Yozora that the disc had no 17+ rating on it. Yozora argued that even without the label, the title and cover alone were already suspicious. Rika countered that things shouldn't be judged just by appearances. Kodaka agreed with Rika. He said that before criticizing something, it's better to take a closer look at what's inside. Judging based only on appearances could really hurt someone. Rika was touched and said that Kodaka was amazing. She invited Yozora to watch the anime with her, explaining that the scenes had been re-edited and some new ones were added, so even first-time viewers could easily follow the story. In the end, everyone ended up watching the anime together. The first scene featured Koyomi inviting Fumio to try out a Gaiden game. At first, Fumio wasn't interested, but after watching a bit, he changed his mind and decided to give it a try. Fumio's friends were shocked that their game hadn't sold a single copy. However, Fumio got upset and hit one of them, saying that sales numbers didn't matter to him. The climax came when an antagonist tried to destroy the Gaiden club, and Koyomi refused to let that happen. He stood his ground, ready to protect the club. The ending was unexpectedly emotional, with Koyomi declaring that even if the whole world turned against him, he would always protect Fumio. To everyone's surprise, both Sena and Yozora ended up in tears because of the anime's touching story. Rika asked Yozora what she thought of it, and Yozora admitted that it was actually pretty good. But just as the credits were about to roll, an unexpected twist came. Koyomi and Fumio shared a kiss. That scene left everyone stunned. Without realizing it, 2 hours had already passed. Yukimura commented that the show was surprisingly good. Yozora then asked Rika why Koyomi and Fumio kissed at the end. Rika explained that once the two characters had truly understood each other's feelings, it was only natural for them to share a kiss. Yozora was puzzled, especially since Koyomi and Fumio were just friends. According to Rika, it was simply because Koyomi and Fumio were human. Yozora questioned whether it was normal to do such things with a friend, but Rika didn't think it was strange at all. She said that when emotions come into play, it's only natural for the body to follow, even if it's between friends or even between two guys. So if they genuinely liked each other, it would make sense for them to just kiss and even do intimate things, because, as Rika put it, that's just nature taking its course. Kodaka responded that it wasn't okay to casually bring up guys doing things together as if it were totally normal. That made Yozora realize for the first time that even friends could kiss. She immediately turned to look at Kodaka. Yozora admitted that she had misunderstood the anime. Rika asked if that meant Yozora's interest in homo content had finally been awakened. Yozora quickly denied it, saying she only thought the club's homo-themed game anime wasn't bad. Rika was excited to hear that someone actually enjoyed it. Yozora even told Rika not to hesitate to show her other similar anime if she had any. Rika was thrilled to have finally found someone who shared her taste, but she reminded herself not to mess things up in a moment like that. Stena, however, thought the anime wasn't suitable for all ages. She was confused by the fact that Yozora had once called her gal games perverted and disgusting, yet seemed to accept the homo-themed anime from Rika without hesitation. Yozora told Sena not to compare a story about male friendship to some dumb game focused on poking and prodding women. That really got on Sena's nerves. She felt insulted that Yozora had dissed her gal game. Yozora then asked if Sena had the guts to read aloud the scene she was playing. She pointed out how inappropriate the dialogue was and claimed that she herself could read any scene from the Homo Club anime because, in her opinion, it was a piece of high art. Sena challenged her to do it. Yozora read one of the scenes out loud, and the dialogue turned out to be surprisingly well written. Sena flipped through to find another one, but they all still sounded impressive. Kodaka couldn't believe Yozora actually remembered every line of the scenes. Yozora said it was Sena's turn now. If there was really nothing embarrassing in her gal game, then she should have no problem reading a scene aloud. Sena went quiet, but Yozora kept pushing her. Eventually, Sena gave in and agreed to read it just like Yozora did. She read the gal game scene in a low voice and hesitated when she came across inappropriate words. Yozora urged her to read it loudly, clearly, and with emotion. So Sena read it out loud, even including the inappropriate terms, and Kodaka was genuinely surprised that she actually went through with it. Sena declared that Yozora couldn't keep pushing her around forever. Yozora was stunned by how extreme the gal game dialogue turned out to be. Sena asked, wasn't it true that there was absolutely nothing to be ashamed of in the game? Yozora admitted defeat and acknowledged that Sena had won, though she also said she didn't want to look at her right now. Rika commented that the scene they had just heard was a bit much for her, and even Yukimura confessed that she hadn't realized Sena could be that suggestive. Yozora said she finally understood why Sena liked that game and apologized for making fun of her. Sena was shocked and immediately ran off, but not before snapping at Yozora and calling her a perverted game freak. That same day, Kodaka had just finished his exams and was walking across the schoolyard when a girl dressed as a nun called out to him, referring to him as a lost little lamb. Kodaka ignored her. The girl called out again, saying that ignoring a servant of God was practically a sin. Kodaka turned and asked if she was actually talking to him. She laughed and offered to listen if he had anything on his mind, saying she was a sister and it was her job to help. She said she understood that life was full of problems, so many that perhaps that was why Kodaka had turned into a delinquent and dyed his hair. Kodaka clarified that his hair was naturally that color. She apologized for stopping him, but told him that if he ever needed someone to talk to, he should feel free to come to the counseling room. The girl introduced herself as Kate and told Kodaka to call her either big sister or mom. Suddenly, Maria shouted out and called Kodaka her big brother, then ran up and hugged him. Kodaka asked if Maria knew Kate. Maria was shocked and screamed, asking why the old hag was talking with Kodaka. Kate got annoyed and immediately tugged Maria's ear for calling her an old lady. It turned out that Kate was Maria's older sister, and she ordered Maria to call her beloved big sister. Maria, clearly in pain, apologized and Kate let her go. Kate assumed that the guy in front of her was Kodaka. She mentioned that she had heard a lot about him from Maria. She also introduced herself again as Maria's older sister. Just as Kodaka had seen, she admitted that Maria was a pretty clueless little sister, but she thanked him for taking care of her. Maria then said that Kodaka would always be her big brother whether Kate asked him to or not, and walked away. Kate yelled at Maria to do her job properly, but Maria loudly shouted back that she didn't want to. Kate was confused by how her little sister could be that clueless, but she was still grateful to Kodaka and the other members of the neighbors' club. Maria had been a lot more cheerful ever since she became the club's advisor. Kodaka said he had always thought Maria was naturally that cheerful. Kate explained that the only thing Maria ever really did was study. Her self-confidence was sky-high and she looked down on others. Things got even worse after she skipped grades. That's why Kate was thankful to Kodaka and to Maria's little vampire sister for being there. She also expressed gratitude to Yozora, who had pushed Maria out of her shell without giving her a chance to talk back. According to Kate, Yozora was the only person Maria couldn't manipulate. Kodaka understood. He hadn't expected anyone to be that thankful to Yozora. Kate added that it might have been a bit too much to force a little girl to run completely naked through the school. Kodaka apologized and promised it wouldn't happen again. Kate asked them to continue supporting each other, then called Kodaka Big Brother. Kodaka agreed, but also asked why she called him that. Kate explained that since Kodaka was Maria's big brother, he was basically her big brother too. She was only 15 after all. She then said goodbye. Unfortunately, as she walked away, she accidentally let out a fart and Kodaka saw it happen. Not long after that, Yozora called out to Kodaka. She said she thought he'd already gone to the club room. Kodaka admitted that he had just run into a weird person. Yozora mentioned that exams were over and that she heard some classmates comparing answers afterward. Kodaka said that in some places, that was still a thing people did. Yozora called it a waste of time, but added that if they ever made some real friends, they might end up doing it too. With that in mind, Yozora suggested they try comparing their answers now, just in case. Kodaka said he understood. Yozora then asked about question 4, part 3 from the math test. Math had been on the first day of exams and Kodaka couldn't even remember the question, let alone the answer. Unfortunately, that was the only question Yozora had doubts about. Kodaka asked her what the question was about. Yozora said it was a logic problem worth 15 points. Kodaka wasn't entirely sure and his answer was a bit long. From his point of view, it was kind of hard to determine whether their answers were right or wrong just by talking it through. Yozora thought it would be better if she had just admitted that the question was tough, or that she wasn't confident in her answer to begin with. When she asked whether the question had been difficult, Kodaka agreed that it had. Yozora then said she wanted to compare other questions, but Kodaka suggested they should stick to multiple choice questions, fill in the blank types, or ones they had just worked on that day. Yozora picked question 11, part 2, from Japanese history. Kodaka took another look at it. It was the one asking for the name of the Hauju family retainer who assassinated Judge Yasunori Adachi. Kodaka had answered with Yoritsuma Taira, and he felt pretty confident was correct. Yozora also knew that was the right answer, but pointed out that there was a chance she might have written Amy instead of Suna by mistake, and she hoped she had spelled it correctly. That made her unsure of what she had written earlier, and hearing that made Kodaka start to second-guess himself too. He realized that comparing answers could actually be pretty terrifying because it might shake your confidence in answers you had been sure of before. Yozora then brought up question 18, part 2. Kodaka said he had just guessed on that one. Suddenly, Sana chimed in, saying the answer was the year 1324. She walked over and asked if Yozora and Kodaka were comparing their answers. She said they should include hers in the mix, claiming they were lucky to have the chance to compare their answers with hers, because hers were perfect. Yozora told her to leave, saying she wasn't needed there. Sena was confused and asked why she was being shut out like that, then invited Yozora to compare answers with her directly. Yozora brought up math question 5, part 3. Sena confidently said the answer was 45. Kodaka was surprised that both of them could remember the answers just from the question numbers. Yozora walked away and Sena ran after her, asking her to throw more questions at her, even the hard ones. But Yozora just said that comparing answers with Sena wasn't fun at all. Instead, she said she would rather compare her answers with Tomo, her imaginary friend from the wind, and ignored Sena completely. That afternoon, Kobato was watching TV while Kodaka was cooking. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Kodaka asked Kobato to answer the door and told her that if it was someone from the newspaper agency, they didn't need anything. Right after that, he heard Kobato shout that they didn't need any. Kodaka figured it must be the newspaper agent, but when he went to check, he saw that Kobato was actually trying to stop Maria from coming into the house. Maria got excited and immediately jumped toward Kodaka. Kodaka was surprised to hear that she ran away. Maria explained that Kate kept forcing her to work, and she figured that since Kodaka was her big brother, he wouldn't make her do chores. Hearing that, Kate got annoyed and told Maria that she might as well just become Kodaka's child. Not long after, the phone rang. It was Kate calling. She told Kodaka that she didn't mind Maria staying at his place and asked him to take care of her for a few days. Kodaka was fine with it, especially since it was still school break, so he agreed to let Maria stay over. That night, Kodaka invited Maria and Kobato to have dinner together. Maria was amazed by how much food was on the table and even thought it looked like a Christmas celebration. Kobato called Maria a clueless church servant from another era and said that was exactly why she was sick of dealing with someone as lowly as Maria. When Kobato was about to grab some food, Maria slapped her hand away and told her to pray first. Kobato replied that she was a servant of the night and never worshipped anything. Kodaka reminded Kobato that if that's her belief, fine, but she should at least say let's eat before starting. Kobato gave in and said it, and Kodaka praised her for that. She then immediately started devouring the fried chicken. Maria quickly said her prayers so she could start eating too. Kobato pointed out that Maria hadn't finished praying yet, but Maria claimed she was just trying to rescue the chicken from an evil vampire like Kobato. The two of them started arguing and Kodaka couldn't believe they were fighting during dinner. Suddenly the phone rang again. Kodaka picked it up and it was Kate. She asked him what color his underwear was, which made Kodaka tell her to skip the small talk. Kate then asked if he had eaten. Kodaka said they were in the middle of dinner, and Kate asked him to remind Maria to finish her vegetables. When Kodaka returned to the table, his fried chicken was gone. He asked who ate it, and Maria and Kobato blamed each other. While washing the dishes, Kodaka asked Maria how she knew his address. Maria said Kate had brought her there. Kodaka pointed out that this wasn't exactly running away from home. Then the phone rang again. Kate was checking in to see if Maria had finished her vegetables. Kodaka told her that Maria had eaten all of them, which made Kate feel relieved, and she hung up right after that. Later that night, Kobato wanted to play video games with Kodaka, but Maria suddenly pointed out that the game Kobato was playing was actually an eroge. Kodaka quickly clarified that it was just a normal game and told Maria to give it a try. Maria and Kobato started playing together, but Kobato easily defeated Maria in no time. She said it was impossible for a low-level human like Maria to beat her. Maria kept trying but still couldn't win against Kobato. Kodaka reminded them that it was time for a bath. Maria immediately took off her clothes and tossed them at Kodaka before rushing to the bathroom. Just then, the phone rang again. It was Kate. Kodaka told her that Maria was currently in the bath. Kate asked him to remind Maria to scrub herself properly. Kodaka was confused about why Kate was so worried, but she didn't admit anything and hung up quickly. While Maria was bathing, Kodaka brought her a change of clothes from Kobato and reminded her to scrub thoroughly. While waiting, he played video games with Kobato. After finishing her bath, Maria came to Kodaka and said that the pajamas felt a bit tight, especially around the chest, and that might make it hard for her to sleep. Kobato got irritated and scolded Maria. Maria finally put on Kodaka's t-shirt, which made him incredibly happy. She was overjoyed and said that she and Kodaka had become one. Kobato challenged Maria to play a game again, and surprisingly, they played until late at night. Maria even fell asleep while playing. Kobato commented that Maria wasn't worthy of being her opponent and turned off the TV. At that moment, Maria's body was sprawled on the couch and Kobato glanced at her slightly exposed chest. Suddenly, Kodaka remarked that getting enough sleep was good for growth. Hearing that, Kobato quickly ran off to her room saying she needed to go to bed. Kodaka gently moved Maria to the bed and tucked her in with a blanket. Then Kate called again, asking whether Maria had fallen asleep. Kodaka jokingly asked if she was a cis, but Kate denied it and abruptly hung up. Not long after, she called back to ask if Maria had brushed her teeth. Feeling irritated, Kodaka turned off his phone and unplugged the line, thinking it would be too much trouble if Maria kept staying at his place. Even so, he still woke Maria up so she could brush her teeth. The next morning, Kate came to pick Maria up from Kodaka's house. She told Maria to apologize to Kodaka for causing him trouble, but Kodaka thought the one who had been troublesome was actually Kate herself. Kate thanked Kodaka, and Maria asked if she could sleep over again sometime. Kodaka didn't mind, but suddenly Kobato shouted that Maria shouldn't come over anymore. Kodaka was briefly confused and hoped Kobato would come to understand eventually. After that, Kodaka went back inside and scolded Kobato for playing video games so early in the morning. Kobato claimed she needed to train just in case Maria came back again. She declared her plan to make Maria kneel before her strength. That afternoon, Kodaka gathered with the neighbor's club in the clubroom. According to him, there was nothing else to do during the 3-day break. Yozora felt the same way and wondered what normal people did with their free time. Rika said she had read a manga where people celebrated after exams with a party called a Thanksgiving celebration. Kodaka admitted he had heard of that before too. Yozora then suggested that they throw their own celebration party. Suddenly, Sana said she wasn't tired at all because she didn't study during the exams. Hearing that, Yozora told her she wasn't allowed to join the party. Sana immediately acted weak, saying the exams had worn her out. In response, Yozora told her to go rest in the student infirmary. Rika chimed in saying she didn't have to take the exams from the start. Maria added that since she was a teacher, she didn't need to take exams either, but she still wanted to join the celebration. Yozora allowed her to take part. Sana then asked if she could join too, but Yozora said the event was limited to just 6 people. Sana got annoyed and questioned why Yozora always treated her like that. Despite the drama, all the club members joined the party. Yozora invited everyone to have a drink, but Kodaka suggested they make a toast first. After raising their glasses to celebrate the end of exams, they all took a drink. Yukimura commented that she wasn't very good with carbonated drinks. Kodaka wondered why she chose one then, and it turned out Yukimura had simply followed his lead, picking the same drink as him. She thought a man shouldn't be defeated by just one drink, so she took a big gulp, but ended up collapsing right after. She apologized for embarrassing Kodaka. Kodaka told her to just drink some orange juice instead, and he would finish the soda for her. Rika pointed out that this counted as an indirect kiss. That comment triggered a memory in Kodaka's mind of young Yozora coughing after trying soda. He then asked Yozora if she still couldn't drink soda. Yozora replied that it wasn't that she couldn't, she just didn't like it. Rika and Sana looked surprised when they heard Kodaka use the word still, and they both began to get suspicious. Kodaka forgot that he had to keep his past and Yozora a secret. After they finished all the snacks, Yozora asked what they should do next, whether they should play a game. Rika mentioned that she had heard of a group game called the King's Game, where the king is chosen randomly, and whoever is the king gets to order anyone to do whatever he wants. Sana got really excited and even planned to order Yozora to lick her feet. She was enthusiastic about getting everyone to play the King's Game. Yozora agreed and even planned to give Sana a tough time during the game. Kodaka set one condition: the king's orders had to be chosen randomly, so he asked everyone to write down king's orders and put them into a box. He had to do this because otherwise everyone would just make up orders as they pleased. On the first turn, Sana got to be king. She even said that she was obviously the one who deserved to be king. Yozora immediately handed her the box full of orders. Sana said that Yozora would be punished by the king for being disrespectful and read an order saying that person number 4 had to change into a swimsuit. Kodaka was shocked and asked who had written that order. Sana admitted she wrote it herself. Kodaka then asked what would happen if the order was directed at Sana herself, but she said she wouldn't be affected. Sana asked who had number 4, the poor fool who would have to spend the whole game wearing a swimsuit. Unexpectedly, number 4 turned out to be Kobato. Sana was surprised and said the order was inappropriate and that she would erase it. However, Yozora insisted that the king's orders were absolute and told Kobato to take out her anger on Sana. Sana pointed out that there were no swimsuits in the room, but Rika offered a very sexy cosplay outfit as a replacement. Kobato had no choice but to wear it, and at that moment, she truly hated Senna. On the next turn, Yozora became king. When she drew a king's order, she was shocked and wondered who the fool was who wrote it. The order was for number 5, who was Maria. Yozora read the order aloud. It was something quite inappropriate. Yozora suspected that Rika was the one who wrote it. Rika admitted it, saying it would be more fun to see the person reading it get embarrassed. Then Senna became king again. Unexpectedly, she went to the convenience store in front of the school and read a dialogue from the king's orders where she scolded the cashier exactly as written. Afterwards, Senna got annoyed and asked who had written such an order and why the king had to follow their own orders. Yozora explained that the king's orders were absolute, even if it meant ordering themselves. Kodaka guessed that Yozora must have written that order since she had marked the edges of the paper so she wouldn't pick the wrong one. He thought Yozora was seriously scary. Next, it was Rika's turn to be king. Her order was for number 1 to show her chest to everyone present. Yukimura suspected that Kodaka was the one who wrote the command, but Kodaka denied it. It turned out that Senna was the one who wrote it. Kodaka then asked what would happen if Senna herself ended up facing the consequences, but Senna was confident that wouldn't happen. Kodaka wondered where Senna's confidence came from. It turned out the number 1 was Kodaka himself, and he immediately showed his chest to everyone. After that, they took turns receiving the king's commands. Maria was ordered to ask the male students to choose between curry-flavored poop or poop-flavored curry. Senna and Rika were told to run around the field. Yukimura had to wear a bald wig. Maria and Yozora were instructed to dance together, and there were many other fun challenges. Finally, they reached the last round, and this time Senna became the king again. When she was drawing lots, A noticed a piece of paper stuck in the corner and decided to make it the final command. The order was number 3 had to kiss the king. Everyone was shocked to hear this. Senna asked about number 3, and it turned out Kodaka had drawn that number. Maria got excited knowing her older brother Kodaka was going to kiss someone, while Senna blushed and asked Kodaka to come closer quickly. Kodaka wondered if they really had to do it since the king's orders were absolute. As Kodaka and Senna were about to kiss, Yozora suddenly stopped them, insisting that something inappropriate like that should not happen. Senna argued that the king's order was absolute, but Yozora remained firm in preventing it. Kodaka then drank the soda in Senna's glass, so technically they kissed indirectly. Rika agreed with this solution, as did Kobato, Yukimura, and Yozora. Yozora announced that the king's game was over. Senna realized that kissing just because of an order wasn't really a good idea. That night, Kodaka's father called, asking about Kodaka and Kobato's well-being. Kodaka said that they were both doing fine. Kodaka's father then mentioned hearing from Pegasus that Kodaka was going to marry his daughter. Hearing this, Kodaka was shocked. Kodaka's father called him and asked if he was planning to marry Pegasus' daughter. Pegasus had apparently contacted him to talk about setting a date, but his voice over the phone sounded like he was drunk. Kodaka's dad also asked if Kodaka was dating Senna. Kodaka clearly stated that he wasn't in a relationship with her. His father then asked if he had 1 or 2 girlfriends. Kodaka openly admitted that he didn't have any. Instead, he joked that Kobato already had a boyfriend and that she was staying over at his place that night. Upon hearing that, his father got really angry and even said he'd fly back to Japan right away. Kodaka quickly admitted he was just joking and ended the call. That day, Kodaka brought Kobato to the neighbor's club room. Seeing her, Senna got excited and asked if Kobato wanted to go with her to an amusement park the next day. She even showed her a ticket to Yokoshima Wonderland, which had been given to her by one of her father's college friends. Senna said the park would be selling limited edition toys and that she would treat Kobato to lots of candy and hamburgers. She sincerely hoped Kobato would accept her offer and even asked her not to be scared of her. Yozora immediately commented on the ticket and called Senna pathetic. Kodaka asked if Yozora had ever been to that place. She admitted that she had back when she was in middle school, and all she did there was read books. Kodaka said he had only gone with his family before, but someday he hoped to go with friends. Yozora then decided that everyone in the club should go to Yokoshima Wonderland together the next day, especially since exams were over and nobody had any other plans. Kodaka agreed. According to Rika, since it wasn't a weekend, the park wouldn't be too crowded, so she decided to come along as well. Naturally, Yukimura wanted to accompany Kodaka. Maria was overjoyed at the thought of going to an amusement park. Kobato figured it might be a good idea to experience a human amusement park at least once. Senna told Yozora that she had originally only invited Kobato, but Yozora pointed out that the ticket allowed up to 6 adults, so they might as well use all the slots. Everyone turned to look at Maria upon hearing 6 adults. Realizing she was a kid and wouldn't count as one of the adults, Maria looked a little left out. Sena quickly said she would buy an extra ticket for her. Maria immediately hugged Sena and thanked her. While walking home, Kodaka asked Sena if there was anything strange about her father the day before. Sena explained that after handing over the tickets, her father suddenly got super cheerful and started drinking sake, though she had no idea why. Kodaka guessed it was probably just drunken nonsense he said over the phone. The next day, Kodaka and the others went to Yokoshima Wonderland. He figured it was probably Sena's first time at an amusement park. When Kodaka asked which ride they wanted to go on first, Yozora, Sena, Rika, and Kobato all confidently chose the Black Dragon, a roller coaster. Kodaka was surprised they wanted to start with that, but Sena had already decided that it was the first ride they'd go on. Yozora said the ride was pretty famous, and Kobato referred to it as the Dark Dragon. Even Maria wanted to ride it. They all got on the roller coaster together. As it started moving, Yozora said it felt way too slow, while Sena commented that the people below looked like trash. Kobato even thought that was the extent of the ride's power. Rika said all the vibrations were making her feel overheated and extremely flustered. But once the roller coaster began to climb, their faces changed. Yozora and Sena started hoping the ride would stop. Kobato and Maria began screaming in fear, though Yukimura still looked calm. As the roller coaster dropped suddenly, everyone screamed at the top of their lungs and even started shouting things they probably shouldn't have said. After getting off the ride, Kodaka asked what they thought of the Black Dragon. Maria said the ride was super fun, while Rika was holding her head and looked completely dazed. She didn't remember a thing. Suddenly, an announcement played saying that the Iron Necromancer character show would start at 10:45 on the main stage. Upon hearing this, Sena immediately called out to Kobato, and Kodaka asked if Kobato wanted to go watch it with him. Sena told Kobato that she had just bought the Blu-ray and the Iron Necromancer series yesterday. She proudly called herself a big fan and asked Kobato who her favorite character was. Sena said she liked a character named Mare from Season 2, but then Kobato suddenly corrected her by saying Meryl, referring to the Fate user from Season 2, Episode 8. She even mentioned the character's full name, Emerald Myrael von Revelatia Utori. Sena laughed and said that the Mare she meant was indeed Meryl. Kobato added that Meryl also made a return appearance in Season 3, Episode 5. Kodaka explained that Kobato was a hardcore Iron Necromancer fan, so when someone talks about it half-heartedly like that, it's like pouring oil on a fire. Not long after the show began, the special guest for the day was Iron Necromancer Guernica. The audience cheered with excitement, and the host asked everyone to call out Guernica's name together. But instead, Astaroth, the villain, made an entrance. He announced that Guernica would be late because he had fallen into one of his traps. Astaroth declared that he would take everyone hostage until Guernica showed up, and the host dramatically called for help. Astaroth then asked the crowd if anyone would volunteer to become a hostage along with the host, promising a special gift for the one who stepped up. Unexpectedly, Sena volunteered to be the hostage. Kodaka was surprised and asked why she did that. It turned out Sena was aiming for the prize to give it to Kobato. But Kobato responded bluntly, saying she didn't need a reward from such a lame show. The host then apologized and said that mothers weren't allowed to be hostages. Astaroth suggested Kobato take her place instead. Sena looked completely confused by the conversation. Kodaka explained that both the host and Astaroth had assumed Sena was Kobato's mom. Sena was shocked and asked why they would think that. She even joked that if she was the mom, then that would make Kodaka the dad. Kodaka was quick to reject that idea. At that moment, one of Astaroth's sidekicks persuaded Kobato to join in, and she agreed to become the hostage. So Kobato ended up being part of the show and got rescued by Guernica in the end. Sena was totally thrilled watching the performance and almost hugged Kodaka out of excitement. When the show ended, Kobato got the autograph of the director. Kodaka pointed out that Kobato only got the reward thanks to Sena volunteering herself earlier. Upon hearing that, Kobato shyly and quietly thanked Sena. Sena looked deeply touched, but Kobato immediately ran off. Sena mentioned how cute Kobato looked when she was acting all shy. Kodaka also thanked Sena, and Sena replied that it wasn't like she did it for Kodaka or anything. She only did it for Kobato. Sena complained that it was annoying how the host and Astaroth called her a mom, especially since she wasn't even married. She called them idiots. The word married suddenly made Sena think that before marriage, people needed to date first. Kodaka noticed and asked what she was thinking about, but Sena didn't answer him. Kodaka reunited with his friends at the cafe and asked what everyone had been up to earlier. Yozora said she had just been reading a book. Rika proudly shared that she had ridden the carousel 10 times, and Maria excitedly said she had eaten fruit crepes and a bunch of other snacks. Kodaka apologized to Yukimura for having to cover all the food Maria had ordered, but Yukimura told him it was totally fine. After all, it was only natural for her to take care of Kodaka's little sister. Maria was instantly drawn to the curry in front of her. As she was about to say something gross about it, Yozora quickly pinched her cheek to stop her from finishing her sentence. Maria changed course and said the curry actually looked tasty. They all started eating together. While they were enjoying the meal, Kodaka asked what they wanted to do afterward. Maria immediately requested that they go on the Black Dragon ride again. That caught both Yozora and Kodaka off guard. Kodaka suggested they drop the idea of riding the Black Dragon again, but Seina said she was still up for another round. However, she added that it wouldn't matter if the others were too scared to go. Yozora told Seina to quit pretending to be tough, pointing out that she was scared too when they rode earlier. Not wanting to let that slide, Seina fired back, saying that Yozora's legs were shaking during the ride. Yozora denied it, but Seina kept teasing her by mimicking the scream that Yozora let out, which was apparently still ringing in her ears. Yozora clearly couldn't let that go and claimed Seina screamed too, and even wet herself. Caught off guard, Seina accidentally admitted it before quickly shouting in denial, insisting she wasn't scared of roller coasters at all. Yozora then challenged her to ride it again. Seina agreed, but only if Yozora went with her so she could take her picture with her digital camera. As it turned out, Seina had been hiding her camera the whole time. After that, Seina and Yozora lined up again to ride the Black Dragon. Meanwhile, Kodaka and the rest of the group tried some of the other extreme rides, including a terrifying haunted house. Later, Kodaka suggested they go on the Ferris wheel. Once they reached the top, they looked down and commented on how tiny the people below looked. Kodaka mentioned that the Black Dragon looked amazing from up there and wondered how Yozora and Seina were doing. Rika pointed out that they had been separated for quite a while and suggested they go find them. Once they got off the Ferris wheel, they quickly spotted Yozora and Seina sitting on a bench looking exhausted. Kodaka walked up and asked what had happened. Apparently, the two of them had ridden the Black Dragon 8 times. Kodaka was surprised to hear that. They had kept riding it because neither one wanted to admit defeat. Rika asked who had won, but there was still no clear winner. They planned to settle it on a 9th ride. Kodaka urged them to just call it a draw, saying they had both tried hard enough. But Yozora and Seina were too stubborn to quit. They were determined not to lose, even if it was tough. Eventually, they couldn't take the nausea anymore and both became quite ill. Kodaka and the rest of the group quickly made their way to the nearest laundry facility to clean up. Kodaka told everyone to meet up again at the entrance gate at 4 o'clock. Afterward, they all headed to the bathhouse. Maria, however, decided to join the men's side instead. She said she didn't want to be in the same area as Yozora and Seina due to the unpleasant smell. Hearing that, Kodaka allowed her to join the men's bath. Maria was happy to have the chance to bathe with her beloved big brother. While Kodaka was rinsing his hair, Yukimura suddenly showed up and offered to help him. Kodaka was caught off guard and initially declined, saying he could manage on his own. Yukimura responded with a bit of disappointment, but eventually Kodaka accepted her help. As Yukimura helped Kodaka, they had a quiet conversation about identity. Maria curiously asked about some differences between them, and Yukimura explained that she was still growing and figuring things out. Kodaka realized something about Yukimura and later shared it with the group, who were all surprised. Rika then gently talked to Yukimura in private to help her understand herself better. Yukimura accepted the truth about her identity and shared her feelings with Kodaka, explaining how family had influenced her thoughts about herself. Kodaka kindly reassured her that she could be herself and didn't have to fit into any particular mold. This comforted Yukimura, who promised to continue supporting Kodaka. Seina commented on how cute Yukimura looked in her outfit, and Yozora admitted she had underestimated her, finding Yukimura's sweetness and obedience surprising. On their way home, they all took the train together. Kodaka looked at the group and said that when they were asleep, they all looked like ordinary, adorable girls. Just then, Yukimura cuddled up next to Kodaka, and he was surprised by how close she was. Kodaka was surprised to see Yukimura wearing a butler costume. Yozora explained that it was part of a new training program, version 2, to help Yukimura become a true gentleman. Yukimura said she would keep doing her best even if she still had a long way to go. To Kodaka, Yukimura hadn't just made little progress, he honestly thought she was a girl. But Yukimura believed that being a real man wasn't something limited by gender. Yozora agreed, saying that if someone had the spirit of a man, they could still be considered one, regardless of how they were born. Yukimura then confidently promised Kodaka that one day she would become a true gentleman like him. Kodaka understood her determination, but he couldn't help wondering why dressing as a butler was necessary. According to Yozora, the first image that came to her mind when thinking of a man was definitely a butler. Sena asked if there was really a problem with a girl wearing a butler outfit. She thought it looked cute. Rika agreed, saying female butlers had actually become quite popular lately. Sena brought up Nebaru Kokono from Butler Chicken and Mayonnaise, and Rika called Nebaru the most charming character at the time. She described her as shy, a little clumsy, and naturally endearing in a way that made her stand out, even in scenes where she found herself in silly situations. To Rika, it was part of her charm. Rika said Yozora had surprisingly good taste for dressing Yukimura as a butler, but Yozora admitted her plan hadn't gone exactly how she hoped. Even though Yukimura didn't fully grasp the point, she promised to continue serving Kodaka while wearing the outfit Yozora had chosen. Kodaka gave her a few words of encouragement. Then Kodaka noticed Rika playing a game on her laptop. He asked if it was another BL game, and Rika confirmed it, though she mentioned she also had a backlog of RPGs, shooters, and even otome games. Curious, Kodaka asked what otome games were. Rika explained that they were story-based romance games aimed at women. She showed them a title called Kirameki School Life. Yozora immediately said it was cursed with something she called the Samapaname curse. Kodaka asked if that had anything to do with Kirosuku. Rika clarified that it was the gender-swap version of Kirameki School Life Otome. In this version, all the supporting characters were male while the protagonist remained female. The game had earned the nickname Girlsuku. Rika noticed Yozora didn't seem very interested, and Yozora admitted that if it was based on what she considered a silly game, it probably wasn't for her. Stana wasn't about to let that slide. She hadn't played Girlsuku herself, but she felt Yozora's comment was like an indirect insult to her little sister. For Sena, saying something bad about Girlsuku was like insulting Kobata personally. Kodaka suggested that Yozora shouldn't judge a game by its cover. Eventually, Yozora agreed to at least try it out. When the game started, Yozora skipped the opening video, saying it was a waste of time. Then the game asked her to input a name. Rika told her it was for the protagonist. Yozora joked that if the main character was supposed to be someone who flirts with a lot of guys, she might as well name her Sena. Rika said playing as a bold character could be fun too, but suggested that Yozora try playing as someone who focuses on just one meaningful relationship instead. While Yozora was typing, Sena suddenly jumped in and typed a random string of letters, ending up with the name Yo Chibaraki. Sena burst out laughing and said it suited Yozora perfectly. Kodaka could tell Sena was still holding a bit of a grudge from the whole Semapaname incident. Yozora was clearly annoyed. Rika, meanwhile, was frustrated because she was trying to get Yozora genuinely interested in otome games, but Sena kept interfering. Her serious expression even startled Sena, who quickly apologized. Rika seemed confused about why Sena apologized. She had only asked a question. Kodaka was surprised to see Rika act so intense. Eventually, Yozora changed the protagonist's name to her own. The game introduced Yozora's character as a first-year student at Kirameki High School. The character commented that the spring breeze felt wonderful. Sena couldn't help but chuckle. The character seemed like an ordinary girl who just wanted to enjoy her high school life. Then the character said she carried many hopes in her heart. Sena laughed again, teasing Yozora with a light remark. Yozora, now irritated, gave her a quick glare, but said nothing, choosing instead to focus on the game. At that moment, Yozora accidentally bumped into a guy named Aoji Shinomori. Aoji helped her get back on her feet. Rika mentioned that Oji was also a new student, just like the main character. He was the heir to the Shinomori Corporation, and apparently, every girl at school liked him. Kodaka hoped he and Aoji could have a fun high school life together. Yozora said Oji was cool, and she was really glad to meet someone that amazing on the very first day of school. She thought her high school life was going to be as beautiful as a rose. Sena immediately teased her again and even said she wanted to call Yozora Rose. That annoyed Yozora, and she said over-the-top girls like that weren't her style. She joked that maybe she should change her character's name back to Yo Chibarik. Rika tried to calm Yozora down, saying it was just a game. Then Yuko Fuyuki, who sat next to Yozora, asked if she knew Aoji. Yozora, clearly irritated, asked when the "just let me die" option would appear because she thought Yuko was way too friendly. She was convinced Yuko was the same type of girl as Akari Fujibayashi. Senahan didn't like that and defended Akari, saying she was a good person. Yuko said she hoped she and Yozora could become close friends, but Yozora believed Yuko would end up betraying her eventually. When Yozora looked at her character stats, she realized her character didn't have any useful skills, so she decided to start leveling up her intelligence. At one point, she was in the library studying. Suddenly, a guy wearing glasses approached her and offered to help her study. Rika was immediately into the guy with glasses. Sena, however, said he looked like the girl's version of Yukiko, and that his appearance was just average. Kodaka said the guy's name was Tuma Suzutsuki, and he was the smartest student in school. Kodaka wondered why Yozora didn't pick him to help her study. Toma asked if Yozora often came to the library to study. He said he wanted to get to know her better. Yozora, on the other hand, was convinced that behind Tuda's serious appearance, he was just another pervy glasses guy. So she decided to send him away, not wanting to be bothered. Tuma, however, said he admired her strong will to handle everything on her own, but he also reminded her that it was okay to ask for help sometimes. He offered to be there for her if she ever needed assistance. Then the game prompted her to go on a date with Tuma. Yozora thought that was too much trouble and figured it'd be better to just avoid the library and do other things. So she started doing sports, painting, shopping for clothes, and even washing dishes. Eventually, her character's stats got better. Yozora really liked that because it felt more like her. Kodaka was surprised she gave up all those chances to go on dates. Rika said the main character's school life seemed way too sad, and she couldn't take it anymore. Sana agreed, feeling sorry for the main character too. Then Yozora ran into some delinquents. She felt confident she could take them on, especially since her character had 380 power. But she was confused why there was no option to fight them. Kodaka explained that the game wasn't that kind of genre. As the delinquents closed in on her character, a guy suddenly showed up and helped Yozora fight them off. He seemed to know who Yozora was, saying she was pretty well known. His name was Eiji Nagatani. He told her that place wasn't suitable for a well-respected girl like her, and he told her to get out of there quickly. After that, Yozora got a chance to go on a date with Eiji. This time she took it. Rika figured Yozora was into that kind of guy. Yozora denied it, saying it was just a boost for daily stats. Kodaka said he did not like guys like that because their gaze felt intense and creepy, they acted recklessly, and they had no manners. To his surprise, Yozora, Rika, and Sena all said that descriptions sounded just like Kodaka. In the story, Yozora asked Eiji out on a date for the following week at the batting center, and Eiji agreed. During the date, Eiji said Yozora was not bad, even pointing out that her hairstyle looked different that day. Sena commented that for a delinquent, Eiji was surprisingly thoughtful. Rika added that if only Kodaka could be as observant as Eiji and actually notice things like a girl's hairstyle. According to Rika, whenever a girl changed her hairstyle, Kodaka should at least comment on it. Better yet, compliment. Kodaka responded by saying that he had already mentioned before that Yozora looked better with short hair. Yozora was caught off guard and told Kodaka not to bring that up. Rika asked if that meant Kodaka had just complimented Yozora. But instead of answering directly, Kodaka realized that Rika had also been changing her hairstyle quite often lately. Rika was surprised and asked why he never said anything, especially since she had been trying to get his attention. That made her feel sad. Kodaka admitted that he had always been paying attention to her. Otherwise, he would not have known what she was planning. Rika said it was too late for him to say that now. It was pointless. If only he had complimented her from the start, he would have already earned a bunch of love points from her. She added that she probably should not be saying that, but she was just that easy to win over. If this were an eroge, they would have already done a bunch of inappropriate things by now. Kodaka was confused about why he needed to earn love points from her. Suddenly, Rika yelled in frustration. She said she was not feeling well and was heading to the science lab to cool off. Yozora called Rika a pitiful girl. At that point, Yozora seemed unsure about something, maybe because Eiji had started to like her. Kodaka said it was obvious that Eiji had fallen for her. But then Eiji suddenly asked Yozora to stop seeing him. He said that Yozora was a top student and the student council president, and if she kept hanging out with a delinquent like him, it would ruin her reputation. Right then, Yozora slapped Eiji and asked if he thought she was the kind of person who only cared about her reputation. She made it clear that she would decide for herself who she wanted to be with. Then she told him to stay with her from that moment on forever. Sena said Yozora looked so cool at that moment. In the end, Yozora graduated and got into a prestigious university. But she had no friends at all and had spent the last 3 years feeling lonely. Maybe she needed to treat people more kindly. Sena was annoyed that her story ended like that and wondered what happened to Eiji's character. Out of nowhere, Rika came in and said Yozora had missed an important flag. She asked why Yozora had not gotten close with Yuko or any of the other male characters. That was when Yozora finally realized her mistake. Rika told her not to worry about it. Failure was normal in games. All she needed to do was learn from her mistake and come back with a revenge run. But Yozora said she was done. If that was how her life was going to go, then she would just live it her own way. She apologized for calling the game trash earlier, saying that it was actually pretty interesting, especially because it gave her a friend like that delinquent guy who had no real-life friends. The next day, when Kodaka walked into the neighbor's club room, Rika greeted him. Kodaka noticed that her appearance had changed again. Rika said she had switched up her hairstyle and asked if he noticed anything else. Kodaka took a guess, asking if she had shaved her head or changed her hair tie, but both guesses were wrong. He then asked why her hair had been dyed blonde and if she was planning to become a delinquent. Rika said she just wanted to try coloring it. She was not worried about hair damage because she had used a special dye. That dye was her own invention, and it would not damage hair at all. If she used a second liquid that came with it, the hair color would return to normal in no time. According to Kodaka, most of Rika's inventions felt kind of bland. He mentioned that she had created things like computer programs, a room lamp that couldn't be turned off, an electric pot that could cook without a heat source, and even an automatic insect catching system. While he admitted all of them were useful in their own way, he felt like none of them had any sense of romance. Rika then asked what she should create instead. Kodaka suggested she build a giant robot, something he personally liked. Rika was shocked that his very first suggestion was such a massive, international-scale project. Kodaka then threw out more ideas. What about a 5-dimensional bag? But apparently that was even more complicated than building a giant robot. He kept going, suggesting a flashlight that could make things bigger or smaller, a cloth that could repair broken items, jelly that could let people understand all kinds of languages, or even a time machine. That day, Rika showed Kodaka and the others something she claimed was a working time machine. She said it could let a person's consciousness travel back into the past. Kodaka was skeptical, but Rika insisted he try it out. She strapped the device to Kodaka's head and set it so he would go back 5 minutes. Yozora asked if Rika was sure it was safe. Rika asked everyone to trust her. Once everything was ready, Rika told Kodaka to think about the moment in the past he wanted to visit. Then, when he opened his eyes, he found himself back in a memory, standing in a playground and meeting young Yozora, who he used to call Sora. Kodaka was shocked to see that his body had also turned into a child's. Yozora told him not to forget their promise for tomorrow before she headed home, but Kodaka suddenly called out to her using her real name, Yozora. She looked confused, wondering how he knew her real name. Kodaka explained that starting tomorrow, he would be moving away from the town and wouldn't return for 10 years. So tomorrow would be their last day together. He apologized and told her they'd always be friends no matter what and that he'd never forget her. He apologized again, but suddenly, Yozora tried to hit him and transformed into the demon Astaroth, launching an attack. Kodaka screamed out her name and woke up. Seeing that, Rika immediately removed the device and asked if he was okay. Apparently, more than 5 minutes had already passed, which was why he had come back to the present moment. Rika apologized and admitted that she had lied about it being a real time machine. The truth was that Kodaka had just been put to sleep using hypnosis, and what he saw in his dream was shaped by what he truly wished for. Originally, she only meant it as a joke, but it seemed like Kodaka had a nightmare. Rika apologized again. Kodaka instead apologized to her for making fun of her inventions. He said that the time machine was actually amazing. Even though things went a little off the rails, it truly felt like he had traveled through time. He was grateful because the device had allowed him to finally say the things he had always wanted to say, even if it was just in a dream. Rika then asked if he really felt like he had gone back in time during a dream. Kodaka replied that it felt exactly like going back 10 years. Sena, curious, asked if Kodaka's dream had taken place 10 years ago. How was Yozora still in it? Sena asked Kodaka why Yozora appeared in his dream if it was about something that happened 10 years ago. Kodaka was confused and had no idea what she was talking about. Rika chimed in, saying that while he was dreaming, he had shouted Yozora's name. Yozora responded that there was nothing strange about that since she and Kodaka were childhood friends. Everyone was stunned by that revelation. Yozora explained that she and Kodaka used to play together all the time before he moved away from the city 10 years ago. That was why they were called childhood friends, or maybe even just friends. Segna then asked why Yozora had never told the rest of the neighbors' club about it. Yozora replied that there was no reason to tell anyone. Rika had suspected as much and commented that childhood friends were basically like ex-friends. The next day, Kodaka returned to the neighbor's club room. When he opened the door, he felt like everything was back to normal. Kodaka mentioned that the school festival was coming up soon, but Yozora said he had just stepped on a landmine. According to her, there was no such thing as a school festival, and she didn't even know what that phrase meant. Kodaka admitted that he did know about their school's upcoming festival. Yozora claimed that school festivals were just events created by popular people for popular people. Kodaka realized that for people like them, the school festival didn't really matter. Suddenly, Sena objected to being lumped in with the rest of them. She pointed out that while Kodaka didn't know much since he was new, she had been a star at last year's festival. Rika remembered it too, since she had received a special invitation from the principal and got to watch it from the VIP section. Sena then asked Rika to explain to the others how amazing her performance had been. Back then, Sena had participated in almost every event in the sports festival. The 200-meter dash, the relay race, the obstacle course, the bread-eating race, the marathon, and the three-legged race. She had taken part in nearly everything, and won them all. Kodaka admitted that was pretty impressive. It turned out Sena hadn't only participated in the sports festival, but the cultural festival as well. Rika recalled how Sena's class had put on a play where Sena defeated a villain with a sword. Rika explained that most of the guys were just enjoying the way Sena's chest bounced around while she was running, and the fact that her underwear often showed during the stage performance. Sena was shocked to learn that the cheers hadn't actually been for her impressive acting or athletic ability. Yozora remarked that fake praise and misfortune were a perfect match for Sena. She even suggested they start calling her Princess Misfortune. Offended, Sena fired back by calling Yozora flat chest. Yozora said what they really needed to do was sit back and let the popular crowd handle the festival activities. Just as she was about to ask Kodaka to join her, Sena suddenly suggested that their club should host an event for the school festival. She pointed out that clubs usually did something to participate in the festival. Kodaka agreed with her idea. He even saw it as a kind of practice for when they eventually made real friends. Surprisingly, the others were on board too. Yozora reluctantly agreed as well, saying the neighbors' club would join the cultural festival that year, and they would drag the popular kids into a festival straight from the deepest pits of hell with their own hands. Everyone nodded in agreement. Kodaka felt slightly uneasy hearing Yozora mention hell so casually. Yozora then asked what kind of event they should plan. Sena suggested a maid cafe, but Yozora immediately shut it down. Sena got annoyed and asked why Yozora didn't even consider it, especially since maid cafes were pretty normal for cultural festivals. Yozora insisted there was no way she would serve other people. Kodaka agreed it was clearly not something Yozora would ever do. Rika also understood, especially the part about dressing up in a maid outfit. Just imagining that scenario made Sena double over, clutching her stomach, trying not to laugh. She said it was the kind of ridiculous joke that gave people stomach cramps from laughing too hard. Yozora admitted that she really was not good at serving others, though she felt that the same could be said for everyone else. Kodaka said that if it was just about taking table orders, he could probably handle it, even though he had never done it before. Sena laughed and said that if Kodaka were the one serving, all the customers would probably run away. Kodaka insisted that he could at least be polite, but Rika seemed skeptical. Kodaka then asked Rika if she could serve customers. Rika told him not to underestimate her and then turned to Yozora to ask if the maid uniform Yukimura used to wear was still available. Yozora went to get it right away and Rika quickly changed her clothes because she wanted to show everyone. She told Kodaka to close his eyes since she was changing right there. Once she finished getting dressed, she told Kodaka to open his eyes. Just by looking at Kodaka's expression, Rika could tell what he was thinking, something along the lines of, "Oh, so Rika changed outfits." Rika called him an idiot, especially because he had actually closed his eyes when he was supposed to sneak a peek. Kodaka was confused by her reasoning. Rika called him an emotionless pudding and told him to leave the room and then come back in. Kodaka stepped out and commented that Rika's words had become seriously harsh lately. Not long after, he came back in, only for Rika to step on his foot and call him lazy. Kodaka had no idea why she was treating him like that. Rika told him to sit down. When he did, she kicked him again and said that he seemed to understand what a kick meant, but not what it meant to sit. She went on to call him useless, stupid, and an untrained dog. Rika kept insulting and hitting Kodaka. In Kodaka's mind, being a tsundere did not give Rika a free pass to do whatever she wanted, but Rika clearly did not care. She suddenly scolded him again for sitting in that chair, and when Kodaka asked where he was supposed to sit, she kicked the back of his knee and told him to sit in a chair invisible to idiots. Then Rika served him a coffee in a rough manner and said it cost 100,900 yen. Kodaka pointed out that she was forcing people to pay for coffee they had not ordered. Rika paid no mind to his comment. Instead, she told Kodaka to take off his pants and expose a part of his body that sunlight could not reach, then told him to savor the scent of his inner thighs and the coffee together as a complete experience. Kodaka asked if they could please just stop already. Hearing that, Rika suddenly switched to being cheerful and politely asked him to come again. She then asked Kodaka how she did in her role as a tsundere maid. Kodaka said that instead of charming him, Rika ended up tearing his heart apart. Rika was surprised, especially because she had thought Kodaka would actually like it. Yozora said she had no idea what part of that anyone was supposed to like, though she admitted Rika's appearance was pretty good. Unfortunately, Yukimura said it still lacked something. Rika understood since Yukimura used to be a maid and clearly took the role seriously. Yukimura explained that being a maid meant devoting oneself entirely to their master. Yozora then suggested that Sana show everyone what being a proper maid looked like. Sana told Kodaka to step outside so she could change. Kodaka asked if it would be okay if he just closed his eyes, but Sana firmly refused, saying Kodaka had already peeked on her twice. Kodaka had no memory of this. After waiting outside for a while, Kodaka was called back in by Sana. When he opened the door, Sana, now dressed in a maid outfit, greeted him kindly. Kodaka was stunned by how tight the maid outfit looked on her. Sana told him to stop staring and wondered aloud why they had such a tight outfit for maids in the first place. The outfit looked incredibly sexy on her. Sana asked Kodaka what he would like to order, offering him a special sandwich, a special cake, special tea, and special coffee. Kodaka ordered a cup of coffee and Sana quickly made it and served it to him. Kodaka asked how she managed to pull off such a convincing prank. According to Sana, it was nothing special. She just copied Stella. Rika realized that made sense since Sana had a professional maid at home. Yozora then questioned how Sana could know how to act like a maid cafe server when all she had to copy was a housemaid. But Kodaka pointed out that even if she was just imitating, she did it really well. Sana got a little flustered and said she had to chant a spell to make the coffee taste better. She ended up saying moe moe in a cutesy tone and acted adorable. Yozora saw this and started calling her out repeatedly until Sana finally confessed that she visited maid cafes every weekend. Embarrassed, she ran out of the room crying. After that, Yozora suggested they cross maid cafe off the idea list. That afternoon, most of the neighbors' club had already gone home and only Yozora remained in the room. Kodaka returned because there was something he wanted to ask her. But when he opened the club room door, he was shocked to find Yozora wearing a maid outfit. She panicked and didn't even get a chance to explain before Kodaka quickly closed the door again. The next morning at breakfast, Kodaka asked Kobato if she still had remedial classes that day. Kobato said the suffering that had haunted her for 2 weeks would finally end that day. Kodaka reminded her not to fail again next semester. Later that day, the neighbors' club gathered again to discuss their participation in the school festival. Kodaka suggested setting up a fortune-telling booth. Sana asked if he really believed in that kind of thing. Kodaka admitted he didn't, but said a lot of people, especially high school girls, seemed to believe in it. Sana said she didn't believe in fortunes at all, since she was someone chosen by the gods and always had great luck. Yozora agreed that Sana did seem lucky, but claimed her luck had already peaked. According to her, Sana had no friends, was disliked by classmates, always ended up alone during PE, and whenever it came time to pick routes for things like economics or school trips, the girls would say she should just join the boys' group instead. That, Yozora said, was the kind of happiness that was far from normal. Sana was confused by Yozora's harsh words, but Rika encouraged her to keep pushing forward with her life, and Yukimura expressed concern for her. Yozora then said the fortune-telling booth might actually work out. Kodaka asked if she actually believed in fortunes, but she said no. She told them that back in middle school, she spent nearly 3 months obsessively checking horoscopes in every magazine, newspaper, and TV show she could find. She even took notes on everything that happened each day. After all that, she calculated how accurate the horoscopes had been and found that none of them had more than a 70% success rate. That's why she stopped believing in them. Rika was surprised Yozora had gone to such lengths and joked that she sounded like a horoscope maniac. Kodaka then asked why she still wanted to set up a fortune-telling booth. Yozora explained that all they had to do was say a bunch of nonsense and take money from the foolish popular kids who actually believed it. There was nothing more entertaining than that, she said. Everyone called Yozora evil and said she was full of darkness. Yozora then offered to give Sana a fortune reading as an example. She asked if there was anything troubling Sana, something related to her relationships with others. Sana admitted there was. Yozora said she could see a light purple mist rising from Sana's body, and that color represented emotional confusion. Based on the shape of the mist, she said it was clearly connected to someone else. Sana was impressed and believed her. Yozora went on to say that she knew everything about Sana. She said that Sana was the kind of person who rarely thought about the past but often felt regret. She had talents that exceeded others in a certain field but couldn't make full use of them, which caused her deep discomfort. Even though Sana came off as relaxed and optimistic, she was often faced with big decisions that weighed heavily on her. According to Yozora, when Sana smiled, what she actually felt inside was loneliness. Sana couldn't believe how Yozora knew all of that. Kodaka quietly whispered to Riko what that kind of situation was called. Rika said it was known as the Barnum effect, a psychological phenomenon where someone believes another person knows everything about them just because they said something that happens to be true. Sana was surprised that Yozora seemed to understand her so well, and it made her feel a little happy. According to Rika, Sana was already in the palm of Yozora's hand. Yozora told Sena that she was a good person, though a bit awkward, so she offered to share a way to make her life feel more meaningful. Yozora instructed her to go to the rooftop that night, stand with a bowl of water on her head, spin around 3 times while shouting the words "sexy beam" as loud as she could. If not a single drop spilled, and the moon would bless her and her life would become much happier. Sena sincerely thanked Yozora and admitted she had misjudged her. Hearing that, Yozora could barely hold back her laughter. That night, Sena sent a message to Kodaka saying her father had smacked her hard on the butt, but she would endure it for the sake of her happiness. Kodaka couldn't believe she actually went through with it. Feeling bad for her, he suggested she look up what the Barnum effect really meant. The next day, Sena shouted Yozora's name in frustration. She scolded Yozora for tricking her, but Yozora acted like she had no idea what she was talking about. Sena said all of Yozora's predictions from the other day were just nonsense. Kodaka told Sena not to feel too down about it. He pointed out that doing weird things and getting yelled at by her dad wasn't exactly out of the ordinary. Sena said that wasn't what upset her. What hurt was that, for a moment, she had actually felt happy, thinking Yozora understood her. Through tears, she called Yozora an idiot. Kodaka then suggested they all head to the clubroom. As soon as they opened the door, Sena's mood instantly lifted when she saw Kobato. She rushed over, excitedly asking Kobato a few things, though it clearly scared her. Sena said she felt lucky to run into Kobato that day. Yozora remarked that it seemed like Sena's luck had finally turned around, and Sena agreed. Kodaka explained that Kobato had just finished her makeup exams, which was why she could come to the clubroom. Sena realized it had nothing to do with Yozora's magic. She admitted she really hated how Yozora just did whatever she wanted, but she decided to forgive her since Kobato was there. Kodaka gently patted Kobato on the head and greeted her. Rika then asked if they were still planning to run a fortune-telling booth for the cultural festival, mentioning she had brought some reference books just in case. Yozora suggested they should just drop the whole fortune-telling idea. At that moment, Kodaka remembered that Kobato's birthday was coming up next week on October 18. When he mentioned it, Sena immediately said they had to throw a birthday party for her. That day, Sena sent a message to Kodaka to let him know about Kobato's birthday. She asked him to come with her to Nagaya to buy a birthday present for Kobato. Kodaka agreed, and they decided to meet at Tuya Station on Sunday at 1 p.m. Not long after that, Rika sent a message to Kodaka. She said she had seen a lot of utility poles on both sides of the road, which got her excited as she imagined being bound tightly to them. Kodaka replied with a blunt, noisy. Then Rika told him to read the first letter of each sentence in her message. When he did, it turned out the message was actually a hidden invitation for a date the next day. Of course, Kodaka immediately turned her down. However, Rika begged him to help her choose a birthday gift for Kobato. Shortly after, Yukimura also sent him a message. It was written rather formally with a long opening, but the main point was that she wanted Kodaka's opinion on what kind of gift would be good for Kobato's birthday. That Yozora sent a message too, asking Kodaka to help her pick out a birthday gift for Kobato the next day. Her message was also quite long and made Kodaka too lazy to read it properly. On Sunday, Kodaka and his friends gathered at Tuya Station. Once everyone was there, Kodaka suggested they go together. Inside the train car, Yozora asked him why everyone had ended up tagging along. Kodaka explained that since they all wanted to get Kobato a present, he thought it would be better if they just chose the gift together. Sena admitted she didn't really mind, but she also didn't exactly like it. She was upset at how casually Kodaka acted, as if it was nothing. Unfortunately, Kodaka didn't understand what Sena meant. Rika noticed how things had turned out and wondered why Kodaka hadn't picked up on it. When Kodaka called her name, she instead commented that she found him pretty interesting. Kodaka then asked why Rika was wearing a lab coat. Rika asked if there was anything wrong with her outfit. Kodaka pointed out that she had been changing her hairstyles lately, but not her clothes, and said it seemed a little weird. He also mentioned that she seemed to be focusing more on what's underneath, which made her look fuller. Rika was surprised that Kodaka had noticed. She said it didn't make much sense to focus on clothes, especially since he had acted indifferent when she changed in front of him the other day. Kodaka told her she was cute and would look even cuter if she wore something that suited her. Apparently, the others overheard that. Rika then asked Sena if she had any store recommendations since Rika wanted to buy some new clothes. She said she admired Sena's fashion sense and wanted to know where she usually shopped. Sena admitted that she rarely went to Nagaya and usually bought clothes from brand-name stores near her home. Kodaka pointed out that there were only mountains and valleys near Sena's house. Sena then apologized and confessed that she had lied. She admitted that Stella handled all her outfits and was also the one who did her hair and makeup. Rika turned to Yozora and asked about her clothes. Yozora replied that she usually shopped online and often bought full outfits based on what she saw in magazines or fashion websites she followed. Rika asked if that meant every outfit in a fashion magazine fit Yozora perfectly. She said she was jealous and told Yozora she looked really cute that day. Yozora was surprised Rika said that. Rika explained that Yozora looked feminine, cute, and even sexy that day. Yozora got irritated and told Rika not to say random things like that. She claimed that the outfit she was wearing was actually the most tomboyish one she found in the magazine. Kodaka chimed in, saying that being tomboyish doesn't mean someone has to look like a boy. Rika added that the point of the style was to highlight a girl's cuteness in a way that stands out more. Kodaka agreed and said that made more sense anyway. Besides, he didn't think any guy would want to wear clothes that exposed their stomach and thighs like that. Yozora looked extremely embarrassed. When they arrived in Nagaya, Yozora said she wanted to go shopping but didn't want Kodaka to come with her. Rika then said she wanted to join Yozora instead, and Kodaka told Yukimura to go along with them and keep an eye on both of them to make sure they wouldn't faint in the middle of the crowd. After Yozora, Rika, and Yukimura left, Kodaka invited Sena to take a look around the area. Sena asked Kodaka what kind of gift could increase her love points with Kobato. She wondered if something Kuroneko-themed would work, but Kodaka told her that Kobato already had plenty of those. He also reminded Sena not to pick something too expensive. Hearing that, Sena said Kodaka sounded like a parent. She then asked what he thought she should buy instead. Kodaka said it should be something that makes her happy. Shockingly, Sena suggested getting lingerie, which Kodaka immediately rejected. He told her that he actually knew the one thing Kobato would definitely love as a birthday gift: meat. But he clarified that by meat, he didn't mean Sena, who Yozora often referred to as meat, but actual meat to eat. It turned out Kobato loved all kinds of meat, so according to Kodaka, she would be really happy if Sena gave her that. Sena then asked if it wasn't rude to give food as a birthday present. Kodaka couldn't believe he was getting lectured about something so normal. He saw a store that sold cooking pots and got super interested in checking it out. Sena didn't expect to end up spending a whole hour helping Kodaka shop for pots. Afterward, they got drinks at the food court, and she asked what was so fun about picking out pots. Kodaka told her not to compare default pots with ordinary ones. Sena said Kodaka was really weird. Kodaka asked why guys weren't allowed to like cooking tools, but that wasn't the only thing Sena found strange. Kodaka mentioned how Yozora was taking forever with her shopping. Sena thought that was totally normal since girls usually take their time when shopping. She said Gal Games had taught her that. Then Sena asked what Kodaka thought about Yozora, Rika, and Yukimura, and also whether he ever wanted a girlfriend. But Kodaka said he was just looking for friends at the moment. He didn't think someone as boring as him, who didn't even have friends, could ever get a girlfriend. Sena disagreed and said he wasn't that kind of person at all. Kodaka asked what Sena thought about his past friendship with Yozora. Sena admitted she was surprised when she first heard about it, but after thinking it through, she realized it wasn't a big deal. That was all in the past, and what mattered was the present. She said even though she didn't really know what Yozora wanted, she had no intention of losing to her. Sena asked Kodaka to remember her words clearly. She said she had once cared about someone, and that meant there was no way that person could ever be boring.